The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. We got ourselves a fine program for you. Some pretty cool stories on, the human interest side of things, the business side of things. A lot we can really sink our teeth into. I'm excited for the convos we're going to have. Not just great topics that we're going to be sharing this episode with, but great people as well. We got a fantastic guest coming up in the second segment. Gospel musician and multidisciplinary artist Martin Luther McCoy is going to be joining us, putting out his first album in like 14 years, and excited to see him back in the game. I remember him in Across the Universe, one of my favorite music movies ever. He was really good in that. Just love all the different things he's done in music and in movies and in media. He's toured with The Roots. He's going to have a lot of great stories for us, and most importantly, a lot of great advice for you. So I'm excited to have him on in the second segment. And we got a pretty fantastic person to chat with here in the first segment. It is our co-host this week, Elisa Rockdock is here. Hi, Elisa.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Are you kind of at like a different angle this week with your camera? Or I like it.
Yeah, a little bit. Decided to give you the therapy layout for the show. See how that worked out. If it's good enough for Dr. Rosemary, it's good enough for Break the Business. But I also wanted to kind of show off a little bit of where the magic happens, and it's better than the white wall over there. So
I like that. I mean, and frankly, I feel a little guilty because I'm sort of being a hypocrite right now, because like I've always just had this like pretty simplistic kind of,
simple is good.
Wood background behind me. People don't really get to peek into the madness that is my office. God, the if you were just outside of the frame of this video, like the chaos you would see, and it all just looks very clean within these four walls of this picture. But like your space, you're given character. Like there's it looks lived in a good way.
Well, that's because this is where I give character all day, every day. If you got it, Jackson. Yeah. But yeah, I figure be nice. It's also a good reminder for me to have the things that I'm neglecting in the background. So it's always good.
We got to make a segment of that. Just you taking us on a tour of projects you're actively trying to procrastinate on.
Oh my God, desk tour. Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, I at some point I'm going to record vocals on the next Linger single, but that is for the career update.
We are excited for that because it's been like at least a couple months since we've had you on the show, because the schedules haven't lined up and everything. And I was, I think the week that I was giving my final exam was your week, so you hadn't been on. So the blessing in all of that, like it stinks that it's been a while since we've had you on because we love your insights. But the good thing is it means that there's sort of a backlog of stuff that's happened in your career that you get to regale us about during your career update segment. So that's cool.
Yeah, lots happened.
And a lot has also happened just kind of in the industry as a whole. We're getting to kind of what I think is one of my low-key favorite times in the entertainment business. It is what I would like to call like award season, but for the insiders in the industry. We're not in like, for the Emmys, for example, like we're not quite towards in the Emmys yet, nor are we even in like the time of year where they do the nominations, because I think those are about a couple months away. But what we are in is in the FYC season, the for your consideration season, the nominations to get nominated
Yes.
part of it, where the industry is not allowed to actively campaign for an Emmy Award. You can't do that. It's not only like strictly against the rules of all these various awards, but like it's kind of uncouth. But for some reason, we do allow all the media outlets to do FYC campaigns for your consideration, where you invite all the press to like some nice banquet hall or something, and you show off all of the stuff that you worked on that they should already know about because it's on TV. But like you remind them of its existence so that when they are filling out their nomination sheets, they don't forget about your show and it's on the top of mind. But and all of the major networks obviously do this, and they invest a lot of money in these FYC campaigns because they want to make sure that their shows are on the top of mind. But a rather delightful development I have seen in the last few years in the FYC space is how the less, what's the word I'm looking for? Established media outlets, the non-legacy media outlets are starting to get into the FYC game because they want to get those awards that NBC and CBS and HBO have been winning for so many years. And so in the last couple of years, we've seen, obviously the major streamers are all trying to win these Emmys, right? The Netflixes and the Amazons. But we're even starting now to see YouTube make a serious play to try to win an Emmy Award for somebody on their service. And that's interesting for a couple reasons. One, because YouTube has never won an Emmy Award. A native YouTube program has never won a major Emmy, has never won one of the major primetime Emmys. They've won some like technical awards and things like that, but never the big ones. And secondly, all of the stuff that's on YouTube right now, none of it is original programming. YouTube has not made an original show since like 2022, but what they've done in the last couple of years is they've invested a lot of money in trying to highlight some of the shows that are very popular on their platform now, even though they don't own them, simply because they want to highlight the great stuff that's on YouTube. And it would still be great for their brand to have something that's native to YouTube win. And the latest example we've seen of YouTube doing this has been an article that they put out a few days ago that's been picked up by all the major outlets, where they're basically announcing to the world, these are the shows that we are most proud of as a platform, and that we think the Emmys should give serious thought to winning awards for. And I'm going to mention some shows here, Elisa, that I'm sure you're aware of, that I'm aware of, that a lot of people, even if they don't watch them directly on YouTube, people know of these shows at this point because you find them when you're scrolling through TikTok. You see clips of them. They're mentioned a lot on the news. But like, for example, YouTube has been pushing pretty hard during FYC season to try to get an Emmy nomination for Hot Ones.
Yes.
The hot wing eating interview show featuring Sean Evans, something that, bald pasty guys like me are very much rooting for him. He's kind of the king of our group here. We want him to win an Emmy. We would also like him to win the heart of Keke Palmer. If he can make both of those things happen this year, we're all for it. We're rooting for you, Sean. Whew. I mean, all right, let me just put the Emmy conversation aside for a second, because I can't just open that can of worms and not talk about it more. Like, they belong together.
I mean,
people say that YouTube isn't real television. How can they say that when like Sean Evans and Keke Palmer have basically the strongest will they won't they romance happening on television right now?
Granted, like Keke Palmer could have chemistry with a brick wall. She's
very
incredible.
engaging.
Also, everybody go see I Love Boosters. That is an incredible movie. It is out in theaters. And she could have chemistry with a brick wall. Sean Evans, he's got a little game to him too. He knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, I saw a clip where he mentioned that his first celebrity crush was Left Eye from TLC. And Keke Palmer mentioned, I played Chili in a movie about TLC, and Sean Evans like, I know you did.
He's like, I know that.
It's one of those kinds of chemistry where you're watching them together and you're like, should I be watching this? I feel like I'm invading their privacy right now. We could all use a little more of that.
I mean,
love
it's so delightful, and it's so pure. And at this point, like, Sean Evans has made like no secret of the fact that he's super into her, and like, I think he was on some other podcast where they asked him, like, have you ever had a crush on a guest from on Hot Ones? And it didn't exactly take a lot of cajoling to get him to
No.
basically say, yeah, Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer. Yeah.
I'm head over heels for her. But what's great about that show is not only is it funny and it's engaging, and for some reason there's something about eating really, really hot wings that helps elicit excellent interviews from celebrities that they, giving them the volunteer information they otherwise wouldn't volunteer. So it's a great concept, but they're getting big stars on that show, and it's really compelling, and it's getting similar kind of viewership to regular network TV talk shows, and it has like a similar kind of budget and everything. So when YouTube makes the push for Hot Ones to be nominated for Outstanding Variety Series Emmy, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't. Similarly, for example, they're YouTube's pushing pretty hard the journalism program Huge If True with Cleo Abram, which is a really cool show. Subway Takes with Kareem Rama, I didn't even know was a YouTube series because I had only experienced it like just scrolling through TikTok, but that's the one where Kareem Rama, the comedian, sits down on an actual New York City subway and just interviews. He has celebrities on that show, but he'll also just interview like regular random people. Yeah. I believe his microphone is like a clipped on little cheap lapel mic that's clipped onto a Metro card, and they just kind of pass it back and forth. Like that's, it's a super engaging concept, and for some reason, sitting on a subway, you get like better interviews out of guests than in some like antiseptic studio or soundstage environment. I don't know why. Yeah, but
you're just putting people in situations where they are otherwise disarmed, whether physically because of the bomb. Or just being in a sort of unfamiliar public space. There's that thing where sometimes people give actors the advice of putting a pebble in your shoe so that you're always like a little bit uncomfortable and more present in the moment. And I think it's maybe that little bit of added discomfort or added kind of maybe not discomfort, but just out of the comfort zone, literally and figuratively, for all of these media trained kind of maybe like sanitized folks, to kind of like let their guard down a little bit. I think Brittany Broski does the same thing on the Royal Court series as well.
That's another one that YouTube's pushing pretty hard right now to win to get a Emmy nomination.
And it's interesting because it's just like it's evolutions of existing kind of legacy formats that are just kind of just switching up methods and delivery, but it's not sacrificing quality in the search of novelty, because these are very great interviews, really good stuff you get out of people. I would also like to shout out other kind of like legacy, or I would almost say like legacy YouTube people, in the sense that like these kind of newer shows are getting pushed, but I feel like there should be legacy Emmys for Film Joy, shameless plug, Movies with Mikey, and deep dive, but like John Boyce and the folks at Secret Base, like they should be getting all of the awards. I'm Pablo Torre Finds Out just won a Pulitzer.
I love that,
and that's kind of like a kind of strictly like new media based show. Defunctland, please give Defunctland an award for showing us all of the amazing defunct stuff. That just dropped a new episode. It was only 48 minutes long, and in this kind of attention,
that's short form for Defunctland.
Right, when I'm like lamenting that something is only 48 minutes long in this attention starved economy, you've got something good. So I'm excited to see that, and especially Dropout, and like the Dropout folks are doing something astronomical beyond YouTube. Even just the sort of like worker owned kind of collective creative spaces getting awards too. Love that.
It's definitely worth highlighting Dropout. As you mentioned, like they're not part of YouTube, right? They're their own separate OTT streaming service, but they're doing the same thing YouTube is doing right now. They have quite notably also made a similar FYC push, which, 5 years ago, the idea of a standalone OTT that's not affiliated with a major media outlet, completely independent, doing its own like FYC campaign, and bringing in all the press and having a huge party would be unheard of. And that's exactly what Dropout did about 5 days ago as we recorded this. They are pushing pretty hard for their show, Game Changer. There's another one that they're a very important people. With a Vic McAllis. They are pushing pretty hard to try to get one of those, if not both of those shows, Emmy nominations. And you're right. The Dropout story, I think, is one of the most special, terrific stories in independent media. This is a completely independent operation. No major kind of media backing behind it. Started by the college humor guys, and kind of just growing up and expanding their operation. It's very worker empowered. They're well known for sort of taking care of the actors that are involved with the production, and like the fan base that they're building from that. Like it is a devoted, it's not a free service. Like you have to pay for it. It's like $50 a year, which, given the amount of programming you get, is an incredible bargain. I am a Dropout subscriber and a rather happy one. And their fans are so devoted. Like I remember reading that Dropout announced recently that they were going to raise their subscription fees because they had to. And they told all the original, people who got in on the ground floor, hey, subscribers, don't worry, we're not raising your rates, just the new people. And apparently a bunch of those original subscribers went back to Dropout and said, it's okay, you can raise my rates.
Yeah.
Like, we love this and we want to support it. And we feel like a sense of attachment to this because you've always given a damn about us as fans. So we want to give a damn about you as well. Like that's like, you can't get those kind of fans in legacy media. And that's super special to me. And I mean, I would love for the community, the media community, the academy to acknowledge that shows like Make Some Noise or shows like Subway Takes are every bit as good as what's on legacy media, if not better, gets all the same amount of viewership, if not more viewership, every bit as much quality, if not more. And there's really no reason that these people shouldn't be given the same kind of Emmy consideration, except for just like legacy bias.
Right. I mean, the idea of like, well, it's not on my television in a way that some lady in Peoria is going to wear a Nielsen headset strapped to her to monitor her viewing habits about. And if it's not in that kind of sort of legacy frame, then it doesn't count. That's just a YouTube show. And I think people would be mistaken in kind of furthering the conflation of the sort of like slop reaction or, more sort of like Mr. Beast, kind of whatever of it all, versus these kind of more, I guess, kind of scripted, or at least kind of trying to maybe present content and entertainment in the spirit of legacy media, just on a different platform and different distribution methods. And I think as soon as people can hopefully separate that kind of like influencer brain from the other stuff that actually exists on this platform, then hopefully we can see more of these shows kind of rise to the top and get the recognition that they deserve.
I mean, maybe it's the cynic in me, but I think that probably just it's going to be however long it's going to take for the audience that is appreciating this show, which skews younger, to eventually age into the industry, to become established in the industry and establish a foothold such that they are now the people that are voting for these shows, right? Because, I mean, the people who are appreciating these programs are skewing younger than the people who are voting for it, who wins the awards for all of these programs. And until those things overlap, I think this new kind of media isn't going to get the recognition it deserves. And I think people tend to poo-poo the internet format and, the way it all kind of presents material. But I think that format, the free-flowing nature of a OTT streaming service or YouTube actually leads to better content, right? If you're talking about an interview program on network television, it's constrained by things like a TV schedule, having act breaks to line up with commercial advertisers, having to conform to the FCC rules and standard and practices, constantly being afraid that you're going to say something that upsets a presidential administration, and then suddenly you're, the number one host in late night is out of a job, right? None of that stuff exists on the internet and on YouTube. And as a result, that sort of creative freedom is allowing for this blossoming of great content. And you're getting so much better interviews on Hot Ones or on Subway Takes than you're getting on network television. You're getting so much better game shows on Dropout than you'd ever see on network TV, except for Jeopardy. Like, we all love Jeopardy.
Yeah.
That we're your grandfather them in. That show is an institution. But most of the stuff out there is not going to be as good as like the stuff that's coming up through these independent streaming services. And I hope the industry recognizes it.
Yeah. And I mean, to wit, they are benefiting from that talent. I want to say, I'm not even sure if it's a hop and a skip and a jump or the other way around, but SNL is feeding off of Dropout talent. Dropout is basically a feeder school for SNL at this point. So it's about time that they get that recognition for where it is they got their start.
Absolutely. And I'm rooting for that. I want to see what happens with this. I predict that at least one of these shows is going to break through and at least get some kind of nomination. Like I think Hot Ones might get something for variety series, because I think that's the one that I think even like the crustiest of legacy media people know of. Oh yeah, the Hot Ones show. Let's throw them a nod. Yeah. Get those youngins to watch our Emmys broadcast. And I think I have this right. Maybe producer Lauren can double check me on this, but is it the Emmys that I think are actually going to put their telecast on YouTube by like 2028 or 2029? I know one of the major award shows is, I think it's the Emmys. I think one of the major award shows is moving to YouTube rather than if the award show itself is acknowledging the power and audience of YouTube, then hopefully that's going to actually flow through to the nomination process as well. Well, while producer Lauren's looking that up, and maybe she'll send us a note or something, I want to take some time and give you the opportunity, Elisa, to regale us on what's been going on in your career lately. People love the Elisa career update. We got a few minutes here. Love to know what you've been up to.
Yeah. So booked and busy. Love to see it. I did take the Jeopardy test. Speaking of Jeopardy, I took the Jeopardy test. I do not know if I passed. They don't actually tell you what your score is at the end of it, which is very annoying. So you just kind of have to wait and see. And then if I hear nothing for the next 12 months, I'll take it again. And I'll keep taking it until they let me on that damn show. I'm also considering ordering one of those like fake buzzers. To be fair, inspired by Mina Kimes' run on Celebrity Jeopardy and just how serious she took it. And I feel like I can also employ that kind of training myself.
So Jeopardy question for you. What do you think is like your quickest path to Jeopardy success here? Ooh. Do you think it is trying to do you think that like you have a better shot of getting conventionally onto Jeopardy, like through the actual Ken Jennings, like main flagship show? Or do you think your path is going to be easier by becoming a celebrity and getting in on Celebrity Jeopardy? Because look, you're one of the smartest people I know, but like the actual Jeopardy show is really, really hard. I had a law school classmate who was like who was like the smartest human being I've ever met, went on actual Jeopardy, got absolutely mollywopped, got smoked. So I would root for you to be on and do well in the conventional Jeopardy show, but I know for a fact you would slay on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Yes. I'm covering all my bases. I am letting the universe tell me what they think I want to be on Jeopardy means for me, because that could be conventional Jeopardy. Would love that. Would love Celebrity Jeopardy. Maybe like a rock and roll Jeopardy. that ever decides to come on back.
I forgot about that.
You know,
Didn't Jeff Probst host that? I mean, he hosted
yeah, I
everything.
think so.
at one point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, bless him. The announcer guy. If he ever needs to take a break from announcing Ken Jennings on stage, I can announce him on the stage. I would love to be a part of the Clue Crew. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but I've always wanted to be a part of the Clue Crew. I always thought that was the best gig on that show. Just travel a bunch and learn a bunch of things and talking to a camera about it. That's great. So I either way, whatever way the universe sees fit, get me on Jeopardy. Maybe I'm a question. Who knows?
Well, you could also be immortalized as a Jeopardy question at some point. Producer
Who is
Lauren
Elisa
got a
Melendez?
note here. The National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences partnered with YouTube to stream the 47th Annual Sports and News and Documentary Emmy Awards. Okay, this is going to be like one of these things where I'm wrong, but I'm going to keep making producer Lauren look for it, and I'm just going to be wrong for the rest of the show. I think that the actual Emmys is going to move to YouTube by
A
like
prime time
2029. I'm either
I'll
exactly
keep
right about
looking,
this.
but like I'm digging for it, and it's not humming. So
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna
no,
keep hunting.
I'm just like there's something. It's one of the major
Something
award
there.
shows. I'm either positive of this or it came to me in a dream. It's one or the other. But boy, that's pretty
maybe
embarrassing
you're
when like she's typing that into Google right now, which is just AI from now on. Apparently, they've decided. Where like and so like even if AI isn't willing to hallucinate the answer I
Right.
want, I'm in trouble.
But anyway.
The Oscars are moving in 2029. Does that count?
Oscars. Okay.
I'll give you that one. But the
That-
other
Thank
one-
you. So partial
Not the
credit.
E. Not the E, but the A. in
Okay, yeah, the and the EGOT. Okay,
Yeah.
so like, but I think my point still stands. We all agree that the Oscars is even older and crustier than the
Legit.
Emmys.
Yeah.
So like, even if the older and crustier Oscars is embracing YouTube, then I feel like the Emmys should get off its ass here.
Yeah. Totally.
I was vindicated, right? Like, I think I hedged it by
Yes.
saying one of the major award
It was
shows.
One of the majors.
And I even
think
got the
that
year
you were,
right.
You were correct.
All
You
right.
were-
Now, I know your career updates span more than just your desires to get on
yeah.
Jeopardy. So what else is going on?
Yeah, I've been very, very blessed to do all sorts of different kind of voiceover lately. Everything from being the voice of State Road 509 for the Seattle Department of Transportation. Shouts to any listeners in Seattle who might be hearing a chipper voice of a state road explaining to them the changes in their methods of traversal in their city.
Wait, hang on. No, we have to stop here. You can't just tell us that you're playing the part of a thoroughfare in a commercial and expect us to just like move on. So when you say you are the voice of the state road, like, are you giving information about the state road, or you are like, hi, I'm State Road whatever, and here's the new
Oh.
updates?
I am the state road, sir. I am the road. I am the shoulder. I am the median. I am the double line you do not cross.
Can you tell us a little bit, as the actress that you are? I know you never just sort of walk into a role. Every part comes with a great deal of preparation, research, perhaps even a little bit of method acting. I'm not sure what like school of acting you hail from,
Yeah.
like with all the lessons you've been doing and everything.
Yeah. Mhm.
But like, talk to us about your process
Okay.
of not just
So-
acting like the state road. How does one become the state road?
How does one become a state road? Well, you hopefully get blessed enough to have agents that will just send you anything. And I mean anything. In addition to being a state road, I have done I did corporate voiceover yesterday. I did 3 character roles with like battle efforts to literally today, and like my throat's like still kind of raw from that. Did some commercial work, but to be a road, to be anything, it involves, it's not who you are, but where you are, and when the where you are is who you are, you know. But no, usually it just kind of says on the spec, like, matter of fact, comma, sassy, comma, not too commercial or announcery. And then usually just try to give your best 3 cracks at it and take
So the
direction.
road is
Okay.
sassy in this commercial.
Yes.
It's a sassy state road.
Yeah, just, very cool, very casual. Just walking up, like I only saw like storyboards of it, but in my mind, I was literally just a sort of like figure 8 rope of asphalt and pavement. Just, with maybe some like arms swinging around, very like, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. I'm just a road in the Pacific Northwest. Just kind of telling people about some new construction that's going on. And hoping that y'all use it and know your traffic patterns and hopefully have a good time and stay safe on those Seattle roads, y'all.
One more state road question. When you're putting your acting resume together and you list your prior parts,
Sure.
Where, you have to list like the commercial and then, dot, and all the way on the other side of the paper, it's your character name.
Yes.
Will you be putting state road, whatever?
It'd be like SR-509.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, and I love this.
They just call me 509 for short, like a nickname and everything. Yeah, it's great. But the biggest thing, I've also had television auditions and commercial auditions, television auditions for things that I do not know why they keep asking me back, but they keep asking me back, so they keep wanting to see me. Taylor Sheridan, hit me up. I'm here, baby. Whenever you need me, just literally just pluck me off. But I got a chance to do a commercial, and I need you to know that this is a commercial in which hopefully you can actually see my face, but more importantly, this is one in which I got to act opposite a trained cat.
What?
I got to work opposite a trained cat on set. Y'all. It's so freaking cool. One of the coolest moments of my entire career is working with this cat. And it's such a good cat. Such a good cat. I mean, obviously, Calvin's such a good boy, great scene partner. Did so well with all
Super
of the
professional.
people and all of the equipment and everything was so loud and stuff, and he was so good. And they gave me treats, because basically the idea is I'm doing something, my cat is staring at me, and then eventually I call him over onto the couch. And so if you know anything about cats, getting them to do what you want them to do is a very, very tall order. So basically, like for most of the commercial, whenever you see my hands, I probably have 2 or 3 treats in there because basically you kind of have to show the cat you have the treat, like, you want this, huh? Cool. And then I had to like make him sit, make him stay with the treats in my hand. And then eventually, when I would call him over to the couch, he would definitely come on over because I had treats in my hand.
Yeah.
Highly treat motivated, which, relatable.
Not unlike most people in your profession. So
Yeah. I mean, easier to work with Calvin than most other people I've had to work with in my day. So, shouts to Calvin. Very professional. Was leaning into my pets by the end of it, which is just such a huge compliment to get as an actor, when
you clearly bonded over the course of the production.
Yeah. And I asked him consent. We didn't have an intimacy coordinator on site, but I did give him neck scruffles and he did enjoy those very much. And I was very, very pleased. I'm not usually that handsy with my scene partners, but for Calvin, I'll make an exception.
Oh,
So cute.
I mean, and when you guys, are doing the press junkets together, like, when this thing's about to come out, like the chemistry you two are going to have when you're interviewed together is going to be so powerful. Like everybody, everybody on social media is going to be like, when are these two going to end up together? My God.
I mean, we've been texting back and forth. We're trying to coordinate our outfits for the Clio Awards, which are the ad awards. So hopefully we for your consideration, to win a Clio award, and then hopefully Calvin and I can make an appearance on the red carpet.
Wouldn't that be dazzling, man? I guess this is what happens like when we don't have you on the show for a couple weeks. You don't just sit around waiting for the next break the business. You're getting shit done.
I gotta work, man.
That's so exciting. Love all the stuff that's going on with you. Can't wait to hear what's happening next time. It's always so. I'm obviously rooting for you, and I know our viewers and listeners get really motivated when they get to see how the work piles up for you every time we have you on the show. So cool.
Yeah. Just credit to everything I've done, and just that little bit of advice to any actor or anybody who's considering any kind of creative field. Make sure that in the rest of your life, you live a well-rounded life. You have a lot of different life experiences. Learn how to cook. Learn how to bake something. Learn how to do any sort of thing. You never know when those skills might be called upon for whatever reason. And I've had to definitely put that to the test over this last month and a half. So live a well-rounded life, and it will serve you well.
That's excellent advice. Let's go ahead and take a break. We got Martin Luther McCoy coming up next here on Break the Business. Break the Business is presented in cooperation with Ryan A. Kairalla, PA. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA is a law firm providing transactional entertainment legal services, including contracts, business formation, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida. rkpalaw.com.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with Elisa Rockdock. We're just having a grand old time. Let's keep it going. Let's go ahead and bring out our guest this week. He is a musician, actor, and producer who came up in the Bay Area's 1990s neo-soul scene. He toured with The Roots and appeared in films such as Across the Universe and Dave Chappelle's Block Party. His new album, Welcome Back Love, is his first full-length release in 14 years, and it drops on July 17th on his own Rebel Soul Records imprint. You can find out more about our guest's work by visiting rebelsoulmusic.com. We are happy to welcome Martin Luther McCoy on To Break the Business. Hello, Martin.
What's up, y'all?
You did all that. Isn't that wild?
Ooh, that was a mouthful. Yeah, but I mean, that's cool. I'm sitting here enjoying y'all because the way you guys just kick it, it's a lot of flow to it. It's effortless. It's authentic. It feels, very genuine. It's fresh, very refreshing.
Oh,
Precious few people. You can count on one hand the number of people who have ever praised the way that I kick it. And that means a lot coming from somebody as accomplished as you, Martin. You should know that among the many accolades that you've gained in your career is you were in Across the Universe, which holds the distinction of being my Uncle Joe's favorite movie. So you can take that to the bank. I also very much enjoyed it as well. But, for some reason, not 6 months go by where my uncle doesn't just randomly mention, I really like Across the Universe. So... but I got so many things to ask you about because, you are truly a multi-hyphenate. We can talk about the music. We can talk about the acting. We can talk about, visual artwork, design stuff you do. But let's talk about music first.
Hey.
Because, and let's bring it all the way back here. I want to talk about how you first got acquainted with it. I read that you were writing songs as early as the age of 5. And when you started, you didn't really have any formal musical training. You just sort of could do it.
That's one way to look at it. But you know what? The truth is this. My grandmother, Ruby May, was the voice of Marshall, Texas. We'll say that. She used to sing for the weddings and the graduations and the funerals and whatnot. And whenever she couldn't, she would send my father. So at the age of 10, he was standing in for a grown woman this was a way that she had to hustle, to get by, but the gift was in her. The reason why I bring this up is because the earliest sound I can recall is my grandmother's hum as far as music, because I lay across her bosom and she had this real deep voice, but Ruby May had vocals. So there was something being transferred into me during that process. And something inside of me caught hold of it, because it's different what landed in me, what landed in my sister, and what my father has. It's the same gift. It's Ruby's DNA. But so when I say that, and you say, yeah, you were writing songs as early as the age of 5, I was clear with what I needed to do with my life at the age of 5. What I wasn't clear about was how to do any of it, and why I had to be around all these other people who had nothing to do with what my mission was. So since I had no answers, I guess I'll fall in line and go to class. I guess I'll play basketball and ride BMX bikes. I guess I'll go play tag like everybody else, because there's something else that's going on in the background the entire time. So when I'm in church and swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home, in my mind, I'm like, don't y'all hear it? It's swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I'm hearing another approach. I'm hearing another purpose for the melody moving a certain way, or the supportive music that lifts and falls, but nobody else hears this, and I don't know how to play the piano and tell them. So again, swing low, sweet chariot. I'm back in line with everybody else, but the whole time I'm writing, because I'm like, okay, well, when I get a chance, or when I figure out how to do what I'm going to do, there's a whole dossier of information that I'm ready to download on myself or on somebody else who could pick up an instrument and that I could work through.
Yeah.
And
Martin,
when
I
that
don't need to
happens-
ask you any more questions. If you just want to riff for the rest of the interview like that,
I mean,
that's a much better use,
Taking
and
notes.
would definitely help us with our Emmy campaign. It's FYC season. We're trying to put out the best episode we can. That's certainly going to help us. That's okay. So
Does that
I
make
get
sense?
it. It does.
Yeah.
It does. And I definitely get a sense of like where the music came from, right? It's in your family's blood. You were surrounded by it at a very young age. You couldn't help but, see the world in that way. Where did the entrepreneurship come in? Because you were starting music companies, pretty early on. You were, studying music industry. Is that another thing that was sort of just ingrained in your family? Did you have to learn it separately? How did you become an entrepreneur?
It was. Well, my can you curse on this podcast, or you keep it clean? Keep it clean. No problem.
PG-13 cursing.
Perfect. No, it's fine. My family is largely responsible as a motivation for me, but it's sometimes in it's the distilling or the synthesizing of the gravity of a situation. So I'm always reminded of how I can't pay for the phone bill or the light bill, so turn the light off and get off the phone as a child. This phone is a business phone. Don't pick it up talking about, hey, what's up? We're working out of the house. Why? Because my father, coming from Marshall, Texas, 1959, sends for my mother 3 months later. He gets a job, she gets a job. They work through the systems. And we're in San Francisco. Eventually, upon somebody's a little tip that a guy gave my father, he said the best pension that you could get from the city of San Francisco is becoming a police officer. So to get there, he had to go through the meter maid, through the post office, and then got down in the city hall and became one of the first black officers for San Francisco, California. Awesome. Well, the stress of that job was a whole hell of a lot too. 60s, 70s, 80s, we talking about, riotous times and all these kinds of things. And so he was looking at how he could turn his information forward, proactively allowing the information that he amassed in his professional experience to now pay him. So at a certain point, he retired and opened up a patrol service. Now he can use his empirical data, the streets, the knowledge, the dealing with, crime, dealing with crime prevention, dealing with having resources with City Hall and getting contracts. So he started a patrol service. And for a long time, he was the only employee. So that whole don't answer the phone talking about, yo, what's up, was for real. You get backhanded around here. And at the same time, we don't have extra money for a box of tricks. What was this, Lucky Charms or whatever the sweet cereals was that was going to give you cavities and send you to the dentist or the doctor's office. We had time for none of that and no extra money for none of that. I kept hearing that. So in my mind, I'm like, I got to get a job. So at the age of 10, I got out there on the street and told them I was 12 and got a paper route. And I'm running up and down the street slanging the Chronicles. I got my bicycle action game so I can ride up and down a lot of the blocks. I could fold and toss them at the same time. And then on Sundays, I always had extra papers. I'd stand out in front of the church. St. Emilius is a school I went to at the time. And I'd sell newspapers to everybody coming out of church, and I'd make a killing. But what I didn't know was that all those extra newspapers was being charged to my account. And so at the end of the month or the tally, I'm now in debt because that money I was making, I was pocketing. I had all of the candies and the licorice. I was the man on the block. But what I want to say is seeing him and having them tell me, no, you got to get your own money, made me say that, all right, well, I'm going to take that to the next level and get me a job. And I ain't stopped working since. But when it came down to music business, growing up again in San Francisco, we got Too Short, we got Club Nouveau, Tommy and Denny. We got people who are in the soil of the street who are taking their music careers into their own hands, producing the product, and then selling it out of their trunk. And it's not just a myth or folklore. I remember the days in my mind vividly, right on 3rd Street, right at 3rd and Oakdale, when the new Too Short project came out, somebody got it in their tape deck. Back then, you had Zapcos in your car, you had 6x9 slapping, and I'm talking about cats is hanging outside the car listening to Dope Fiend beat. Now we on the bus with our headphones, and the bus driver is telling us, turn it down because it's too loud. It's coming out of our headphones. That's just the impact of the culture. Yeah. But at the same time, you hear about people, dying penniless and broke out of the music business. So, well, why is that? Did they not read the contract? Did they not care? I'm gonna tell y'all and all your fans, if somebody's putting 100,000 in front of you saying sign right here, most people are going to have a hard time not signing, no matter what the paper says. Even after they read how much they trapped, they're like, well, at least I got that 100,000, because there's probably 100,000 other artists out there who are not even going to get the opportunity to see that kind of money. These are all real circumstances back then. Things have changed now. Kids are generating 100,000, 100 million out of their mind with a computer and Claude. Make it happen. People are making 3D printers at the house for products that I use on my guitar pedal board that came out of their mind, that I sent them some money through Etsy that they shipped to me. Get busy. If you're not able to do it now, the hustle ain't in you. But back then, the hustle, it wasn't just in you, it was on you. As soon as I got to 9th grade and somebody showed me how to silk screen, Fila never made a t-shirt that had the bar going across and a bar underneath it going down. But I did, because I knew that was going to get me some money. Okay? So when it's in you and not just on you, you get busy about it. It don't matter what age you are or what situation you in. And that was the environment that I came up in. Well, but I'm also Christian background, so it's not like I'm out trying to selling drugs or taking shit from stuff from people and doing things that were morally and ethically not the fly thing to do, because there's repercussions for your actions, right? So I'm having to deal with all of this. I got the street side, I got the church side, I got my own internal compass, and I have a relationship with a higher power that's telling me, go. So I never look back. I go.
I like what you were mentioning about how one of the changes you've come to appreciate in the industry is that, more than ever, performers can have access to an audience, in a way that wasn't the case 30 years ago, right? Somebody could
Right.
just 3D print something and sell it to anybody in the world. Somebody can make a piece of music in their bedroom and, have somebody on the other side of the world immediately be able to access it. And, obviously that's a welcome development and something that's changed in the industry. Is there anything that's changed in the last like 20, 30 years in the industry that you wouldn't see as welcome of a change? Like maybe something you miss about the old industry?
Well, the thing about it is the old industry had gatekeepers for a reason. It had a structure that worked in a certain way. And if you could get on the beltway, the freeway of that structure in any kind of capacity, you more than likely were in the arena of opportunity. Now that was a specific beltway. Now we have the universal beltway, and there is no one way to do anything. There's almost so much freedom that people don't really know what or why they need to look in any particular direction. You have a cell phone, you can just hit shuffle and discover, and you might find a bunch of stuff that you really, really love that you would have never found. And you might find a whole bunch of crap that you're totally not interested in. So, well, you got playlist curators and you got influencers that'll tell you what's going on. At a certain tier back in the day, we had a watering hole. We could always know where to get the good stuff. Now, people like yourselves create podcasts, but there's not just one podcast. There's 1 gazillion podcasts. So who do you and why do you? It's kind of just all over the place, to me. And that's just me having some pushback on not the freedom and the availability of all this, because I think that that's really dope. Now, we don't really have the Source magazine or the Vibe magazine or what is the purpose of Rolling Stone magazine now? If there is a gazillion blogs that might give me the unfiltered take on something, and I don't have to wait till they finally decide that this artist is worth reporting on. I can't say. Now it's based on the metrics of the advertisers or how many people are really tuning in or the metadata. But, there was a certain time when it was really about the music. Corporate invasion, corporate takeover, it wasn't just automatically like corporations make things bad. They influence things at a certain way, and now you started seeing bigger opportunities for larger groups of people to enjoy bigger size concerts and arenas and tours and things that wouldn't happen without those sponsors from the corporations. The smaller independent festivals kind of then get stepped on because people are not looking at the smaller thing as impactful as the bigger, shinier thing that can advertise on TV. So there's not really I wish this was or wasn't. I just notice the trends in the way it blows and shifts people's attention and the way we engage. I come from an era, I was created by vinyl. So I'm putting out vinyl. And some people was like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? I handed a cat a CD and he was just like, well, what am I supposed to do with this?
He's speaking to you now, at least, because now he's getting into like the rock and sociology stuff. Like this is your field.
Oh, it's true. It's true. It's interesting. Also, one of the things, a totally self-serving question. I'm a musician, but I'm also an actor. And I'm so curious about the work that you did in Across the Universe and the idea of being in studios, on huge stages.
You want me to just start talking about it?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how did kind of your musicianship inform your work as an actor, and how did you enjoy kind of being an actor, and does your work as an actor inform what you do now musically?
This is great.
I love it.
What comes to mind? I was blessed with the opportunity to join the Roots. Start there. A good friend of mine, Cody Chestnut, he's in Los Angeles. I'm introduced to Cody in a very, very unique way because of Saul Williams. And Saul has a show in San Francisco. And he's like, yo, I want you to open up for the show I'm having. It was at Great American Music Hall. Well, when the program producer is going to reach out to me and we're going to work out the business. Cool. Well, they want me to come do a show, and it's like, we got $750 for the opening act and da 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 da. Da. At the time, that might pay for one or two of my musicians in the band. That's not going to cover the full tilt. And so I'm like, so we can't really do it for that. Oh, well, I understand. It's business. No problem. Hey, you ever heard of this dude named Cody Chestnut? And I was like, nah. This is like the next day. Well, he's going to open up the show for me in San Francisco. And I was like, okay, cool. You got somebody. I go to the show, and Cody and I, we have a kind of familiar appearance to each other at the time. It's just like the afros, the wild clothes, and all of the stuff. And so since I'm not on the bill, I come walking in the door to come hang out with Saul, and the people are just like, well, how can you be coming in and you're on stage? And it was really funny because that's just how much there was a resemblance of the vibe. But anyway, Saul brings me up on stage, brings Cody back up on stage, and we all have a nice little brotherhood bond. Cool. From then on, I'm doing shows in LA, and it's normally me and Cody doing stuff during this time. It's early 2000s, from 1990 something, early 2000s. And Cody ends up with a great opportunity to have one of his songs reproduced and performed with the Roots on their album, right? The Seed. During this time, my grandmother passes while I'm over in Jamaica. And this is another wild little story. I don't know how much time we got, but while I'm in Jamaica trying to pack my bag to go home, I had seen my grandmother 5 days prior to, and she was in the hospital. Really bad circumstances, but I told her to hang on till I get back. She said, okay. She said, if I happen to go, I'll let you know. Yes, she always had jokes. So now we're packing up after the trip in Jamaica, and over by my bag is a beetle about yay long and yay thick, green, and right by the bag. So I'm just like, okay, it's about to be a fight in here because I don't want to smash this beetle, but I got to get my bag and pack. So I'm throwing stuff at it, and it won't move, it won't move, it won't move. I finally have to knock over a table dang near, and the beetle just turned over on its side, dead. I was like, this is wild. I wanted to take pictures of it. We didn't have that in the cell phone back then. So about an hour and a half later, we go from Negril to Montego Bay. When we get to Montego Bay, the phones are working and all of this. My sister is on the phone like, hey, Marty, I just wanted to tell you that grandma passed. And I was like, wow. And I looked at the time. It had to have been an hour and 40 minutes prior. And I was just like, this is too not coincidental, but this is just how life moves. So now when I get back, I got to get down to Texas to grandma's funeral. When I get there, at the time I was signed to Good Vibe, a label out of Los Angeles, independent hip hop. And they were like, yo, we got an opportunity for you to meet with maybe Steve McKeever or somebody from Sony Records. You got to get to New York. And I was like, okay, well, I'm on my way to Texas to my grandmother's funeral. I'll call you once I get done with being with the family. I didn't know that Cody and the Roots and Badu Smoke and Grooves tour was popping. So now I get on stage with Cody in Houston because, we just cool like that. And so I do a show with him, and I'm like, yo, I got to get to New York, and you got a tour headed up to New York, Philadelphia. Can I ride with you? And he was like, sure. So now I'm on the tour with the Roots and Cody Chestnut and Badu, and we going city to city. Finally get up to New York, and by that time, this is like within 7 days, the dude that was over at Sony is no longer there anymore. That's just kind of how the shuffle may happen with different, members of the music business at a certain level. So I'm now stuck, and I got to go back to California with just without, right? Because I didn't even expect any of this. So now I got to get back to Cali. But before I do, an ally who was Cody's tour manager, Anna Robbins, was like, yo, Questlove is having guitarist auditions over at his studio. Why don't we go crash it? And I was like, cool, because I want to go see. He got 60,000 records. I want to see it. Yeah. So she called Quest, like, yo, what you doing? He was like, I got to go. I'm having guitarists. I said, well, wait. I got somebody that wants to audition. And I looked at her, and she was like, yeah, Martin Luther. Like, first of all, it just caught me off guard, but you know what? I see we going to get into that record room. Let's go. We get over there. I audition. They end up offering me the gig for a week.
Man.
So now I'm on tour with the Roots out of nowhere, and I was like, this is grandma at work. Let me just accept it because I'm an independent artist who's working hard out of the Bay Area to get out of the Bay Area. And now I just did dang near a half of a nationwide tour. And now I got a week worth of work with the Roots over in Europe. What? So all of that happens. I get back. I end up joining the Roots for about 2 or 3 years, which was amazing. Now I'm feeling like I'm betraying my own artistry and my own trajectory by being a part of someone else's machine that moves at a certain pace and way. So what about all the stuff that I was working on as an independent? A lot of the fertile ground that I was brewing, a lot of the artists that I was working with, it all just kind of, it doesn't really get catapulted because it gets left behind. And it was so much foundational information that I just can't leave it all. That's me. That's Rebel Soul Music. And do I abandon my label and my production company and all of the artists that I was cultivating? I'm gonna have to get off of this tour. So in 2005, I took that leap and I was like, I gotta go. We did the Dave Chappelle Block Party, which was amazing, but that was my swan song. Now there's no more, hey, your car is outside. Hey, you want to change your flight? Oh, no problem. Just give us the information. Hey, what you need? We got Adidas sponsor and such and such. Hey, put none of that, right? I'm going on tour and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to be on tour. Now me and my manager laughed. We out in the snow in Glasgow trying to get on the freeway, pushing the car up onto the highway, get to Paris because we got to fly to London and it ain't no way to change these tickets. You know what I mean? We no longer in those lofty circumstances. We got to get there. So we went through all of that. I finally get back to the United States after touring on my own, feeling accomplished, but I ain't made no money. It's all got to go to the band. We get a letter in the inbox that says, as yet untitled Julie Taymor project wants to audition Martin Luther. Please contact us. Amazing. We had changed servers, internet companies 3 times because of just, bad servers and whatnot going on. So it could easily been missed. We get the email, I show up, I go down to an audition down on, I'm in Broadway now. I don't even fool with Broadway in New York. People everywhere, look around, there's little kids, there's little white kids, there's tall, old white kids, there's dancers, there's you name it, they're everywhere. And I'm just like, what? Because I'm thinking Broadway, jazz hands, and I'm a soul singer, rock and roll dude. What, you know what I mean? But they was just like, do you know what this is? And I was like, yeah, it's an audition, right? They was like, yeah. It was like, can you sing? And I was like, yeah, well, sing. And I was like, what you want me to sing? And then the guy on the piano was like, well, the song that somebody has to sing in the movie goes like this. And he started singing, Oh, Darling.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, well, play it again. Oh, darling. So now I sing it. And the whole room just kind of looked and turned. And then they was just like, well, you got to play the guitar. Can you play? I was like, I got a guitar. I drug 50 pedals and an amplifier in here. I thought I was auditioning. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I was coming for. To be dead honest with y'all, I was headed back to California because I couldn't afford to stay on the East Coast and have an apartment. You feel me?
Yeah.
This is like life stuff. So I'm like, if y'all want me to stay, I don't know who I need to talk to, but somebody gonna have to cut a check because I'm supposed to catch a flight. I played a little guitar.
That's right.
And then they was like, okay, well, this was the funny part. Julie Taymor was looking on the desk. She's like, where's his bio? I don't see a headshot. I ain't came in there with none of that. But they saw the raw talent, and I spoke for mine because it was like, if I say I can't act or I say I can't do it, then they say next, go home, right? So I said I could do it. So they said, learn the script and come back for an audition. I learned the script, and I came back for an audition. I did a real audition. And I learned it my way because I figured if you're going to hire me, this goes with any job. I do voiceover work. I do acting work. I do performances. I do, gospel, jazz, R&B. So if you're going to hire me, there's no need for me to act like a robot because then the personality is flat. I'm now trying to fit into something that won't shine because I'm not that good of an actor, right? I can give you what I think is going to connect. And that's what I did in the audition. So I changed the names of some of the people that was, they was like, where'd you get that from? And I was like, well, that's what I would do if this cat was on my block and he was from that part of the world. I call him Liverpool. So when I said some of that stuff, it stayed in the movie, which was interesting because I can't say I wrote it. I just freestyled it and they kept it. So I auditioned and then they was waiting on Ben Harper or his people, Andre 3000, Maxwell, they had drained New York and LA because Dana Fuchs is a bad ASS vocalist and she's a monster. And whoever was going to be acting opposite her had to be able to vocally deliver opposite her as well. What y'all may or may not know is that I'd say 90% of the takes in the movie are live. So we're not lip syncing.
Oh, wow.
We're performing.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. And so
I-
it was, once they said I got it, I had one of those, fame, you're gonna live forever. I had one of them moments because I'm now at 59th Street Circle. My phone goes off. I get off the train because I just had a feeling. I go upstairs. I listen. We want to let you know that you've been offered the role of JoJo. All the people was just like, what is wrong with this dude? But I kind of fit in. I'm in New York, so I was really happy at that time. I was getting the experience of, a next step because jumping off the stage with the Roots was just like a free fall because I didn't have an exit plan. I just knew that there was so much in my life in disarray that I needed to get it sorted, right? And then here comes another opportunity. So now the long story I just told you was to get back to your question, that my life experience prepared me for the role. And that was just like, you want me to play the role of a Jimi Hendrix inspired character? Wow. And I just did my first band trio as a solo artist in Europe, right before I walk in here to do an audition for the movie. The reason why they contacted me in the first place was because they already had somebody for the role. He forfeited it. Now they got to go back and drain Hollywood and New York again. And they had already been there. So they're trying to contact more or less notable singers so they could kind of cut the chase and get maybe somebody who would agree that had a certain name or a brand. And that wasn't working out. A girl who was in the office at Bernard Telsey Casting Agency was like, I saw this dude at the cutting room that I think would be great. Has anyone considered Martin Luther? And they was just like, no, because at this time they're pulling who has anybody that could play Jimi Hendrix? That was pretty much the ask.
Yeah.
And so they reached out and that was destiny. It was just something that was for me to have. And so, my life experience.
I honestly would have never thought there would be like a connection point between like the Roots and Across the Universe and like how those came together. That's amazing. That's an incredible story. I hate, I love that we're on the radio, but I hate the time constraints that come with it. I want to ask you 1,000 more stories, but suffice it to say, I want to just quickly say, you have your new album coming out, Welcome Back Love. It's dropping on July 17th on Rebel Soul Records. Our guest has been Martin Luther McCoy. Martin, I really want to thank you for coming on the show. This has been a blast. I can tell we have like 1,000 more things to talk about. So we need to have you on again real soon. If that is, bless you.
I ain't even playing none of the new music for y'all, but it's coming. Martin, and you can get it at martinluthermccoy.com.
Martin Luther McCoy.
That's the real address you want to get to. Yes, indeed.
Cool.
Very good. All right. Our thanks to Martin Luther McCoy and Elisa Rockdock. Our thanks to producer Lauren. And thanks to all of our viewers and listeners for checking out Break the Business. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Break the business.